Hey guys, alright, today we are back with another Geography Now video. This time we're at Austria. We're closing in on the bees. I was thinking, should I react to every single Geography Now video, or should I just react to like the more bigger nations? The nations that I know about? Let me know. But for now we're going to ye old heart, or not the Habsburgs. Going to the Habsburgs' homeland. Go ahead and dive right in. Someone's gonna probably comment in the comment section that Austria is not really the home of the Habsburgs and they're actually originally from somewhere else. I don't know. I'm not a Habsburg historian. I don't know why I felt the need to say it, but I did.
Also nicht vergessen, wann's nach Österreich kommst, wann's Deutsch reden, nennt es nicht Deutsch.
It's time to learn geography now!
Hey peeps, I'm your host Paul Barbato. Let's dissect the flag.
Going straight into the flag, okay.
The flag is one of the oldest used flags of Europe. Disputably, legend has it that the flag comes from the Siege of Acre after Leopold V came back from battle and removed his belt with his blood-soaked tunic, leaving a red-white banner. Keep in mind that the Austrian flag looks very similar to the flag of Latvia, however the Latvian flag has unequal-sized bands and is a darker shade of red. Keep in mind,
Darker shade of red is very important.
many other countries in the Eastern European region, specifically the Pan-Slavic areas, still retain a part or complete version of the white-red pattern on their flags, like Austria. We'll explain a little bit more about this, but first, let's talk about the borders. In terms of its location, Austria is landlocked, bordered by 8 other countries, don't forget Liechtenstein, in the Central European region, with the Alps dominating 3/4 of the country in the west and in the center. The country is divided into 9 states, although it's kind of funny because the state of Lower Austria is technically a little higher than Upper Austria geographically.
Why? Why do you do that, Europe? This isn't the first time I don't think a country has named a state upper, whereas the lower state is actually higher up.
The capital and the largest city is Vienna, located on the eastern side of the country, where 1 out of every 8 Austrians can be found. The city is a wonderful assimilation of centuries-old stone churches, palaces, opera houses, and monuments, as well as modern high-rises, skyscrapers, and business offices. Oh, and there's dozens of castles speckled throughout the entire country. Remember how in the Albania video I told you play that whole Find the Bunker game? Well, in Austria, it's kind of like Find the Castle game. As a member of the EU...
Pretty much that's Austria, Germany, and France. France not so much. Wales too. I think Wales has the highest per capita castle. Is it per capita? Like per land? I don't fucking know. They have a lot of fucking castles.
Austria's borders are pretty open with all of its neighbors and are pretty much virtually invisible with the exception of the occasional river or mountain blocking the way. The only controversy it really has is in the South Tyrol region, which historically belonged to a number of different kingdoms and empires, but for a long while it belonged to the House of Habsburg, a historically fascinating lineage that would eventually play a pivotal role in providing half of Europe with all of their monarchical lineages. In short,
and a lot of genetical issues.
It kind of initially belonged to Austria, however, after the Treaty of Saint-Germain-en-Laye in 1919, the entire southern part of this region was kind of reluctantly given to the Kingdom of Italy. This explains why Austria has a relatively narrow eastern parameter that stretches into the Alps, as the South Tyrol region, which previously gave the country a wider range of dominion, was ceded to Italy. Austria was kind of like, okay, Italy, we'll give you this piece of land, but, you know, just a little heads up, pretty much everybody in there is Austrian and they speak German and they kind of want to be part of Austria. But hey, it's all yours. The most confusing part of...
I think that was what, World War I that did that? Italy got that in World War I think? Is that how it went? I think that's how it went. I can't remember. Because I think Italy at least gained this bit of land here, I think, during World War I. I can't remember what else.
The region, though, would have to be the Jungholz Enclave, located right on the border of the
Another goddamn enclave? Why? Why do so many countries have these fucking enclaves? They don't make sense.
Bavarian region of southern Germany. This place only has about 300 people, separated into 4 small towns. This area is strange because it is one of Europe's only 3 quadrupoint borders and is technically joined by Austria by only a small narrow corridor, only a few meters wide on the top of the adjacent Zugspoften mountain that crosses over into the Austria side. Otherwise, the only way to get into Austria from this region is by driving through Germany. This means that if you don't want to go through Germany to get into Austria from this region, the only way is to literally climb to the top of the Zugspoften mountain to the very point where the 4 borders meet and climb all the way down to the rest of Austria.
Oh, that's easy.
Since the 19th century, the borders have been literally marked every single step of the way, and the top has a mark stone that distinguishes the narrow crossing. Believe it or not, this is actually a common hike that a lot of people take, despite the fact that many of them don't even understand the significance of the markers. Speaking of mountains and hikes, let's talk about the physical geography. As mentioned before, about 3/4 of Austria is mountainous, with the Alps dominating the center and western parts of the country. These mountains are the characterizing segments that give Austria its distinct national identity, both historically and culturally. In short, even though the vast majority of people in Austria live in the low-lying plains around the mountains, Austria would not be Austria without the Alps. These mountains can actually be quite quirky, almost with minds of their own. For example, every spring in the Hochschwab Mountains and forests on the east side of the Alps, the snowmelt from the mountains completely engorges the Grüne See, or the Green Lake, engulfing the entire park with trees and benches underneath it. These
What? How?
mountains also provide the perfect setting for Austria's favorite sport, skiing. The problem, though, is that although these mountains are very beautiful, they do kind of make a lot of the country uninhabitable or difficult to cultivate. Although 40% of the land is covered in forests, less than 20% of the land is arable. And for the record, yes, The Sound of Music was filmed in parts of Austria. No, not everybody has seen or even cared about seeing that movie. Of course, the mighty Danube River flows through
It's an okay movie, in my opinion. I mean, I had to watch it in elementary school for like music class. I don't know why. And now that I think about it, I was a kid, and they were showing us Nazis, Nazi persecution, and I didn't even understand it because I was so young.
northern part of the country and has historically played a vital role in Austria's economy and trade sector, especially after the construction of the Rhine-Main-Danube River Canal back in 1992, which allows ships to finally pass from the North Sea through Europe into the Balkans and ending into the Black Sea.
Oh, how big of ships though? Because I know right now, I think ships are limited in their size because of the size of the Panama Canal and Suez Canal. I think mainly the Panama Canal, because I think the Panama is smaller than the Suez in terms of width. And so like the Panama, you know, you don't want to be bigger than the Panama unless then you can't pass through, and then you have to go all the way South America, and you don't want to do that. That's a lot of time and money. So yeah.
The low-lying area
I remember hearing that somewhere. Can't remember where. Maybe a teacher told me it several years ago.
of eastern Austria have nice grassy hills and plains, perfect for cattle raising and, of course, dairy production, where some of the classiest Austrian cheeses are produced. Now, of course, Austria's economy is not really that heavily based on agriculture, but rather services and industry, specifically in engine and medication manufacturing. But who
Drugs? Austria, what the fuck? Trying to drug up the world?
Who does all the manufacturing? Let's find out in demographics. You know, as the home country of Mozart, Austria still kind of lives up to its classy expectation. Austria has a population of about 8.5 million.
Yeah, the stereotype kind of Austria is that Mozart-y vibe. And then, you know, German stereotypes are the Germans. Because of, I believe, Bavaria. I think that's the region.
About 90% of whom are ethnically Austrian, and 10% from other nations, mostly from Germany and the former Yugoslavian states such as Hungary, Serbia, and Bosnia, with an influx of Turkish people having immigrated over the past few decades. The reason why there are so many Eastern Europeans in Austria has somewhat to do with the Austro-Hungarian Empire and the Habsburg dynasty, which was one of the most pivotal.
You know, it's surprising though that despite the former Habsburg Empire, there isn't a bigger population of ethnically Hungarian or former Yugoslavian peoples in Austria. It's kind of amazing that there's still 90% Austrian, whereas like 10% is a pretty small number, I think. For a country, I mean, yeah, it's a small country, but still, for being the former epicenter of a massive empire, you would think that they'd be a bit bigger. Or have a bigger percentage.
Monarchies that shaped the entire course of European history in every corner.
With a lot of genetic deformities, as I previously said, and look at that, we got one down here with a chin. She looks like she's fucking missing a chin. He's got a big old schnoz. Maybe he looks kind of normal, except for that big old schnoz.
from Spain to France, England to Russia, and so on. The Habsburgs even took over Mexico for a short period of time. That's how powerful these people were. Yes, Austrians speak German.
I love the oversimplification of the Habsburgs. I like it.
However, rule number one, do not call them German. They're kind of reluctant to even tell you that they speak German, and will be very quick to point out that it's Austrian German, not German German. The language has a very distinct vocabulary, a lot of the words influenced from Eastern European nation words, and they also have their own standard dictionary set apart from the German and Swiss dictionaries. The dialects can change drastically in Austria. Sometimes it only takes about 40 kilometers traveling inward until you reach an area that has a completely different accent. And don't even get started on those Liechtensteiners. In contrast to Germans, Austrians like to define themselves as more soft-spoken and reserved. They don't like to upset anybody, and courtesy is very highly expected in this country. Educational accomplishments and achievements are very highly prized in Austria. One thing Austrians do kind of obsess over, though, are titles. They prefer to be addressed by every title that they've obtained for themselves, even if it equates to like 15 titles. Mr.
What the fuck, Austria? Ain't nobody got time for that.
Doctor, Chairman, Vice CEO, Chairman Otto von Schnitzelbach Krakengeschiffmeier. One thing that Austrians
Yeah, it sounds accurate. That sounds like a real name.
will tell you that they really like to do is just taking simple walks, whether it's just for an hour to clear their head, and in any weather, whether it's great or whether it's raining. They even have a word for it, spazieren. Don't be surprised if an Austrian invites you to just go for a walk. Go with it. They're a little bit more conservative in their politics, which can possibly be attributed to the
Does that mean, hold on, does that mean I'm Austrian? I like going for walks. Walks are nice. But my German family is more from, like, Eastern Germany. Well, Prussia. My family's Prussian-ish, I think. We think. It's muddy. For all we know, we could be Polish instead of Prussian. Or we were told... First German ancestor that came here spoke German, so we're assuming that they were German. Anyways, back to the
elderly population. However, the youth have always been known to ruffle up a few controversy feathers here and there. I mean, the winner of last year's Eurovision contest was an Austrian drag queen with a beard. They keep things a little bit on the down low. However, once every so often, one notable figure comes and shines through, like Christopher Waltz and everyone's favorite bodybuilder Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I always forget he's Austrian. I don't know why, I just keep forgetting.
Which, by the way, contrary to some stupid rumors, no, the last name Schwarzenegger does not have a racist connotation behind it. It literally just means the person from Schwarzen. Schwarzen meaning black, Egger meaning soil, black soil, fertile soil. It basically just means the place of the fertile soil. The family...
Who the hell would think that name's racist? What? Internet. Stop it. Germany. They didn't meet... They really didn't have black people there until recently. Maybe the last 300 years? Yeah, they had traders, but none permanently staying until maybe the last 200. Maybe not even that. Maybe the last 100. It's Germany. Landlocked nation that didn't really have colonies. Austria didn't have colonies. Out of the big European powers, might be the least likely to be, despite their past. The German peoples. Austria, I don't know. I'm rambling here, but I don't understand. France, Spain, Italy, and England are the nations that I would, and the Netherlands and Belgium. Oh, Belgium. Are the nations I would expect to have last names that are perhaps have racial connotation. I wouldn't expect Germans or Austrians to, because of just how their history was. You know? I think my logic makes some sense. Probably not. I don't fucking know.
Family is descended from a long line of prosperous farmers, which is what the name refers to. Case closed! Speaking of relationships, let's talk about the friend zone. In the simplest way I can put this, this is kind of what Austria's relationships kind of look like. Now shut up and dance with me! Pretty much all of Austria's best friends have some kind of a love-hate relationship with them, but love always wins in the end. It's kind of crazy too, because in the nicest, softest way I can put this, Austria did kind of start or influence both world wars.
Yeah, he's right.
War One with the attacks from the Empire on Serbia after the Archduke was assassinated, and World War II because, well, I mean,
Yeah, we don't like to talk about that, Paul.
Hitler was kind of born in Austria. I mean, no Austria, no
Baby
Hitler.
Hitler.
To this day, Austria is incredibly neutral in their affairs and lies in a very interesting alliance limbo as they have neither joined NATO or the Warsaw Pact. But enough on that. In regards to their eastern neighbors, because of the whole Austro-Hungarian Empire, Austria and many of the other Central and Balkan states like the Czech Republic, Slovakia, Serbia, Bosnia-Herzegovina, and so on, have close ties to Austria, even though historically they had lots of drama under the Habsburg dynasty. But hey,
Yeah.
it was either the Habsburgs or the Ottomans, and they hated the Ottomans. In regards to
Yeah. No, he right.
Italy has always been a huge trade partner, but of course, like mentioned before, the whole South Tyrol region thing kind of causes a little bit of tension. They aren't going to war or anything, but Austria is kind of like, look, Italy, I mean, come on. Everybody there is Austrian. In terms of their best friends, Austria would kind of reluctantly say Germany, but more specifically Bavaria, the region of South Germany. Bavarians and Austrians are very similar in their culture and tradition. Some Austrians will tell you that because they get along so well, Bavaria is said to be the 10th Bundesland, or state, of Austria, although Bavaria alone has more inhabitants than the whole of Austria. You know all that stereotypical Lederhosen and Dirndl costume stuff that you see on all those Oktoberfest commercials? Yeah, that's kind of what you would attribute to Bavarian and somewhat Austrian culture, but they only do that on special occasions. I mean, if it was up to me, I would wear that stuff 24/7, but hey, to each his own. In conclusion, Austria is kind of like the country that secretly changed the entire course of all of European history right under our noses without us even knowing about it. There's one more picture of Arnold Schwarzenegger, and get ready because Azerbaijan is coming up next.
Stealthy bastards, you Austrians. That was a good video. I think it definitely this one was a pretty weak video though. I mean, it's still good because Geography Now does a great job, but this felt pretty weak from them. I think this could have been, I don't know, there was just something about it that felt a little off compared to the previous videos in my mind. I feel like maybe this video, maybe it was rushed or something, I don't know. Or maybe I'm having an off day and that's why, I don't know. I think this could be one of those videos that gets a revisit and gets lengthened. I think you could easily make a video on Geography Now video on Austria that's like easily 20 to 30 minutes long. Make it probably just as long as the Germany video. I think that would be a pretty good length for it because there is so much stuff about Austria. Despite it being such a small country, I think you could easily do the longer form content with it. But that was Geography Now Austria. I hope you guys enjoyed. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe for more. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.